All right. Hi, Cail.
Mike,
Yeah. So looking at the game as a whole, with each of the three periods, how difficult was it for your guys to muster up any momentum just to get out of the gate in any of them, when the goals are coming against you very early on?
tough. It's tough when you give up an early one. Takes a little window to your sails, but it's a 60-minute game, so you just have to reset. I thought that we settled the game down a little bit, but we just didn't generate enough offense in terms of finding ways to get pucks on the net, being quicker, faster with things getting toward the net.
And just to follow up, how would you grade Tyler's performance in his first game in 13 months?
Oh, exactly. First game in 13 months. So I don't want to put a grade on it. He got 60 minutes in. That's excellent. I think that's a good thing for Tyler. I think that he made some big saves. There's some that he'd like back, but hey, he's just getting himself into action again after a long layoff. So I'm not going to put a grade on it.
Okay, thank you.
We'll go to Danny.
So is that something when you're dealing with a kid who's been out for 13 months, obviously he's competitive, wants to go in there and, do his very best. Is that something you're emphasizing to him? Just go out there, get back in the groove, sort of get the feel for it again? Or, what are you telling him before and after the game?
Yeah, after the game, we haven't spoken. We will speak here. He's waiting in the hallway, so we'll speak. But it is certainly something where, Danny, we understand the nature of the beast in terms of, as a goaltender, it's not an easy position to jump back into the mix in and just blend in, right? There's a lot of it's a high pressure situation. So the idea is get him as ready as he can, and I think make sure that he and everyone understands, like, hey, this is a position that you got to get back in, get some reps at, and Tyler Parsons is as hardworking and competitive as they come. So there's absolutely no pressure that we put on him that he hasn't already put on himself. And so the conversation after will be, to make sure he's taking it easy on himself. Because if there's something that he didn't like, you can't stew on that. You got to just move on. It's the first game in 13 months. You got to take your lessons from it and move on.
Thank you.
Head over to Patrick.
Yes, Coach. 4 of their 5 goals tonight were scored in the first 2 minutes or so of the period. Am I reading too much into that, or is there a concern there just in terms of the team, coming out strong at the start of each period?
I think that it's enough of a trend lately that we've talked about it, and we've had a few early goals in previous recent games. And the bottom line, I think, Patrick, is the group. I think the group is. We had a conversation after the game. The group really cares, but has to find. All of us have to find a deeper level of competitiveness early, and you got to win those battles. You got to find a way to block those shots. You got to, we want to face off at the beginning of the game. We didn't find a way to get the puck out. It was our puck, and we didn't execute to get it out. So to your point, in order to eliminate early goals, which destroy momentum and make it an uphill battle, we have to be more competitive as a group. It's just not good enough right now. And I don't think I'm saying anything surprising to the team. It's just a matter of we need to dig deeper.
Go ahead over to Paige.
Hi, Cail. Garrett Sparks made an interesting comment a few weeks ago when you guys were kind of in the heat of the losing streak there. He was saying how because you guys started off so strong that some of the younger guys almost forgot what it was like to lose. Do you almost feel like you're feeling the opposite nowadays?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Paige, actually, because it does seem like we're feeling that losing sensation all too often, and sometimes when they pile up, then suddenly things like early goals tend to bubble those feelings and emotions right up to the surface, and so as you sort of start to forget that winning feeling, and you start to get into that mode of like, oh boy, here we go again. And as we've talked about, the emotional reserves and stamina at this point in a season and this point in what's happening in the world are a little low. So it's a point that we talk about, and it is a point that sort of goes along with what I'm talking about with Patrick, that we have to accept where we are, and we have to dig deeper than we have been in order to get out of this pattern of losing.
Yeah, and then with kind of recent events and kind of how your guys' play has been going lately, do you feel like there's things that need to be done on an individual level, or is this a team problem at this point?
It's both. It's a team, but usually the team thing comes down to individual sacrifice and individual commitment in terms of just making, finding ways to make plays that are hard and finding ways to, whether it's blocking shots or taking hits or winning battles, races, it's finding that extra, there's working hard and then there's really competing, and we haven't been at that edge of really competing enough lately, and we're finding ourselves losing in as a result. So you have your choice of whether you consider yourself defeated or else you regroup and actually get the effort that we need, and that's our challenge going into Saturday.
Thanks, Cail.
Welcome. Thanks.
Anything more for Cail, guys? Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, my last one is Jan Kuznetsov gets into the lineup again for the second consecutive game. Obviously, still a very young player, but experienced with college. And from what you've seen of him to this point, because obviously you've had a lot of different young defensemen cycling through your lineup this season, but what has he done to establish himself in your lineup that perhaps other defensemen this year with you haven't?
Well, I think Jan is smooth with the puck. He's got some poise there, and he's got some good sense, and he is someone who we want to get a real good look at. Bottom line, so I think that he's done a good job for going through the quarantine and being as young as he is and new to the organization. I think he's done a great job there. And we have a limited number of games that we can work with here, but we're trying to get a good look at him before the season's done.
And I guess just one quick follow-up from me then, with Walker Dewar getting into the lineup tonight and gets some interesting deployment on the power play and stuff. And what is the plan with him ultimately for this stretch in Manitoba? What do you want to see out of him?
Want to see his he's a straight direct player. He's got really good speed. He is someone who will follow that up with some physicality. And so we want to see that on a consistent basis. We want to see him, make sure that he's driving our team north, because I think our team needs that. We need some size and speed down wings, and he's someone that can provide that. And, on the deployment side, it's, a young player that's new to the organization, but we want to make sure that we give him looks at, expanding. It's tougher to expand into all situations, but, identified him as a guy that has scored a fair amount of goals near the net, even strength, and thought that it was, it's a wise decision to give him a few looks around the net on the power play and make sure that we don't close any doors right off the bat. You want to give guy a chance to make plays, make an impression, and understand that his ceiling is high. And we want to make sure that there's avenues available for that ceiling.
Thank you.